Konbanwa, genki desu ka? I hope you are all genki desu. Welcome to Thursday evening, and welcome to our third part of our Ju-Ippon Kumite sessions that we're doing. So we started last Thursday with set 1, Tuesday we did set 1 and 2, and tonight we're going to do 1, 2 and 3. That is my plan. Plans are all well and good. Alexa might cut in at some point, the dog might run around at some point, and you know, things in a live lesson don't always go correctly. I'm going to, Andy, I've sent you a message. Read your phone, please. So I think what we're going to do is we'll do a very brief warm-up. We'll recap set 1 and set 2 from what we did last week and Tuesday, just to make sure everyone's okay with those, and then we'll start set 3. Please remember what I've said about these sets, and the same with our Ju-Ippon sets, is that they're in the syllabus book as a baseline guide. Okay, the idea is to help you train and learn different techniques, I think, to defend yourself against Ju-Ippon attack or Ju-Ippon attack. But they're not necessarily what we would expect to see in grading, for instance. So if I was grading one of the black belts, I would not expect to see pretty much any of these sets. I would expect to see something a little bit more special, a little bit more different, a little bit more personal. So something that really works for that person. These sets were all developed by the black belts. So we've got a mixture of different abilities and grades, and right the way through from Shodan to 6 Dan, hundreds of years of experience. And what we've tried to do is mix it up, so we've got different things that would suit different people, different body types, different ages, etc, etc, etc. But it's a baseline, okay? It's just that baseline. The idea is that we want our students to develop their mind, okay, so they are thinking themselves, what could I do should the person attack in that way? What could I do if they did it this way? So I hope that kind of comes across okay. I do remind people of this in the dojos, but you know, I think sometimes we see these things written down and we think, must do it that way. Okay, it's a bit similar to the grading syllabus actually. You know, I've said to the instructors, that is a guide. It does say on our syllabus book that this is a guide. Guide doesn't mean we have to religiously do what's written down there. If we know that a student is particularly struggling in one area, we might want to see that more. We might want to see some really good stuff. So everything in karate is all about evolving, okay, and making things a little bit different. Kata, we work within the framework of the kata, but ultimately, you know, there is evolution in that. So there's been changes in kata, certainly in the 30 years I've been training. So I hope that sort of makes sense and gives you sort of some idea of what we're trying to get at. Difficult with you not being here and me being on my own in the house. Even the dog's left me this evening. So it's really important that we go through these sets, that people start to maybe practice them at home, and I hope you have been for the last couple of days. And then we'll continue them when we're back in the dojos. I don't have any updates on any of the dojos, I'm afraid. Only one school has got back to me, and they don't know the answers from them. So I really can't tell you if we're going to be able to train over the summer or not. But at the moment it's looking less likely, I think. Which is pretty disappointing, to be perfectly honest. I had thought there might be light at the end of the tunnel, but not at this moment in time. But as soon as I know, I'll let you know through our normal mediums of social media and our website. Okay, so let's get going, and we'll say hello to a few people in a second. I just need to get warmed up a little bit. I don't know about you. Okay, so Ray and thumbs on the shoulders. Again, just rotating those shoulders nice and big, nice and wide. Keep the shoulders down, don't tense, just completely relax. Okay, and then come forwards, just nice and slow. Okay, now let the arms come out and back, and out and back, and out and back, and then relax. That's great, okay, excellent. So relax those shoulders, okay. Now put your arms up and let your arms drop, let your arms drop, let your arms drop, let your arms drop, let your arms drop. Okay, take the right arm crossed. Now that noise is the dog asking to come in. She doesn't have a voice, so obviously she just bangs. Konnichiwa. Oh, goodbye. I'm no longer alone. Okay, so arms forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, shich, hach, ku, and ju. Okay, and to the side. Ish, ni, san, shi, go, rok, sish, hach, ku, and ju. Okay, and up. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rok, shish, hach, ku, and ju. Okay, so front. Ish, ni, san. Ich, ni, san. Ish, 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 ni, san. Okay, and just relax. Okay, takubi, your wrist. Hiji, your elbow. And kata, your shoulder. Relax. Okay, wrist takubi. Ubi, your fingers, but takubi's wrist. Hiji. Let it drop. Okay, let it relax. Okay, your shoulder kata. So in Shotokan karate, it's really important to be able to relax the body like this, so it just flops around, and then kime. Kime is the tension, the end, remember, of a technique. Okay, shime is not the same. Shime is contraction. Okay, so it's not to be confused. They sound similar, shime, kime, but kime is the end. So when we lock our techniques out, etc. Okay, I think that will do with the arms. Okay, just thumbs on the shoulders again, just rotating on your hips. Very good. Okay, twisting round. So we're isolating the arms basically, we're not using the arms, we're just using the hips to push the body round. And you're pivoting on ball of the foot, koshi, and ball of the foot. Okay, so front stance in kutsudachi, just leaning, not leaning, pushing your weight, naturally let it drop above the knee, just letting it drop. And just let it drop naturally as low as you can go, keep the legs stretched, and then come back. And again, just let the body weight drop. So you're not pushing forwards, you're dropping down. Okay, so there's a difference to pushing forward, pushing my knee over my big toe and just dropping my body weight down. Change legs, or change sides, sorry. So again, relax, and then just drop down. It's not a huge amount of difference, but there is a difference. And drop down. Okay, kibidachi, side stance. Just let your knees drop down. Your knees drop down. Okay, so left arm out, hidari tei, sorry, hidari one and hadari tei, left hand. Okay, make sure right hand on right hip, migi tei, migi koshi. Okay, and punch in 10 times gekuzuki. Ich, chokuzuki. Ni, san, shi, go, rok, sich, hach, ko, ju. Okay, and just squeeze down a bit more, or relax more into your stance. Don't force anything, just relax down a bit more. 10 more punches. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rok, sich, hach, ko, ju. Okay, and just relax. Relax down more. And this time, nidanzuki, double punch. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sich, hach, ko, ju. Okay, just relax your shoulders, relax your body, sink down in your stance, and come up, whatever you do. A sanbonzuki, okay, so we do jodan, double chudan. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rok, sich, hach, ko, ju. Aya! And yeah, and right. Os. Hello, Holly-san. Os. Os. Konnichiwa. Ohayou gozaimasu. Genki desu ka? Genki desu. Genki desu. Os. Dog is well trained in Japanese despite being Chinese. Okay, os. Okay, straight again, ladies. You might look cute, but you stink. I'm not kidding, you stink. Us. So, let's get the lesson going, okay, with Ju-Ippon Kumite. So again, Remember, we're not doing too much on the attacks, okay, because we've done quite a bit of that last Thursday. We spent quite a long time on the attacks. We did the 2 new attacks on Tuesday, which was Kikomi or Shigeri. And there is a potentially, excuse me, a 6th attack. That's right. That's right. There's potentially a 6th attack, which is Yushirigiri. So we might do a little bit of that this evening. I'm sorry I had to disappear there. Dogs thought she'd stick her head out the door halfway, which is not helpful for me. My neighbours hearing my key eyes. I'll probably have the police here in a few minutes. So it's really important that we focus more on defences, because I think that's the complicated bit. We can do the attacks in the dojo easy enough. Okay, so that's the reason for doing this. Next week I'd like to move to kata again, possibly Kankudai, because we've not done that so far during the lockdown. So, and the black belts and the higher grades all need to have a go at that. Junior grades, you can attempt it as well, because it's a great and easy kata to learn. It's just very, very long. Okay, so, right, so remember, yoi. Okay, so always start from this position. Our opponent will do the same. Okay, and we step forward, Gidambarai, and then we pull back to Kumai position. So Kumai just means position. What we mean here is Judachi, okay, fighting stance. So Ju means free, or means Kumite, fighting, okay, but also means 10. I appreciate there's a few words that cross over, spelt differently. JU is 10 and JYU is for Kumite. So remember your knee above your bit, just let your stance drop down, okay, so it's a foot length shorter than your Gidambarai stance, so we'll get the Zenkazudachi stance. Guard here, solar plexus, and guard here, chin. Okay, so set one, right side, Jodan attack coming here, okay, and Jodan, os, Tati Shuto, Gyakuzuki. Okay, and again, just slow speed once more, Jodan, os, Tati Shuto, Gyakuzuki. That was not slow speed, that was my medium speed. Jodan, os, Tati Shuto, Gyakuzuki. Come back. Remember not to extend the arm, so I'm just keeping just a little bit back. Don't put your shoulder in anyway, but just relax here and here. So natural speed, rocking, in and out, in and out. Ju-Ippon Kumite, Okure Ju-Ippon Kumite, Ju-Kumite, you don't stay there. If you stay there, you get hit. Simple rule, okay? Don't get hit. That's the first rule of Kumite. So we must make sure that we are in and out. This teaches us our control, where we are able to touch gi or skin, okay, and control without causing harm. If we want to cause harm, we just punch straight through. So, but we control that as karateka, not anybody else, okay? And that skill builds up over years and years and years, to the point where you'll get quite good at it. So that's Jodan, Tati Shuto, Gyakuzuki. Make sure, look at your opponent. Okay, you follow them wherever they go. You follow them and you be with them all the time, working together. Okay, Chudan. So Chudan, punch is coming down centre here. Okay, very simply, Sotoryuki, but not basic Sotoryuki. So just Uchiuki, Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki, and back to Kumai stance. Okay, so once more, Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. Okay, so from this position here, leave that hand where it is. Tai Sabaki blocking, and punching. Okay, I'm not going to lie, we've now got a full house. We've gone from no one being here to everybody, and the dog's just going to say hello. So, Chudan punch coming in here, and now she's going to come out. Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. Remember, my opponent is now here. If I punched here, are you quite finished? Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. But try to imagine, because we're on our own, where is your opponent? Whereabouts is your opponent? Okay, mine is right between my legs at the moment, because Holly's mucking around. Okay, but it's important that we follow our opponent all the time, so we're keeping them in sight at all points. So again, slow speed. Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. Once more, Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. Okay, last time. Sotoryuki, Gyakuzuki. Okay, and then every time we come back to this line, we're mirroring our opponent, we come back together. this form that we create between the two of us, I think, separates us from a lot of other martial arts whereby there's no real etiquette. Shotokan Karate is very much etiquette based. And this shows a mutual respect. You come back, you face your opponent, okay? They know you're ready, you know they're ready, so you are connecting all the time. It's all about respect, Shotokan Karate. Okay, so I do realise I haven't said hello to everybody on the screen yet, but I will get to that, I'm sure in a second or two. Okay, thank you for the lights. So it's important then, following that opponent's aim, so blocking here. My opponent here, their arm is here, I just blocked it, their stomach is here, yeah, and punch, and back. Okay, and then thinking of maigeri, so maigeri kick coming in. Okay, so again, we don't really want to be making too much connection with the arm and the leg because the arm is always going to lose in terms of a power battle. Okay, so we move taisa back, yeah. So Gidanbarai Gyakuzuki. Okay, so maigeri here, Gidanbarai, yeah. Gyakuzuki. And again, you don't need to do a huge Gidanbarai, okay, because this is not Kihon. This is Ju-Ippon Kumite, Ju-Ippon. So just that one step, so blocking here, yeah. People often ask us as black belts, how can you do things shorter? And why? Why in fact? So surely a long front punch like this is stronger than a front punch like that. The shorter the stance, the more speed is created. The more speed is created, the more power is created. So speed equals power essentially, if you just think of it that way. Why then don't we let white belts just build up speed? Because they don't have the baseline, they don't have the basic grounding that they need to have. So we can't, Shotokan Karate there's a fair amount of, I said before, physiology involved. So we have to build the strength of the muscle. So that's why we have these long stances to start with, to build the muscle. But not just the muscle, we need to learn how to connect our bones. Okay, you have to connect all of the tissue that surrounds the bones, so ligaments, tendons, etc. And that can only be done from practicing strength training, isometric training essentially. So you get the strength built in, then you're able to shorten your stance and be faster. But you can't go from 0 to fast. It just doesn't work like that. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people would think it would be great to get a black belt in 18 months. Personally, I know for a fact you couldn't possibly learn and your body couldn't change enough for you to be a black belt. Okay, so there are organisations that promise black belts in 18 months and 2 years, etc. And they'll charge you a fortune for it, but it's not correct. You won't be a black belt, you might wear one, anyone can do that, but it's wrong, it's wrong. So we go back to set one then, so Ju-Ippon Kumite, so make sure good judachi, good hips at hand, half facing, cutting down the target area for your opponent. So Jodan, so blocking, Tachishito, yeah, Gyakuzuki, and Chudan, Sotoruki, yeah. Hey, Gyakuzuki. Hey, maigeri, Gidanbarai, yeah. Gyakuzuki. Come back. Okay, changing legs. So left side set one. So Tachishuto, yeah. Gyakuzuki. And Chudan, Sotoruki, yeah. Gyakuzuki. And maigeri, yeah. Yeah. And back to the centre. And yame. Ori. Os. Hey, enoi. So remember, set one, baseline, learning brown belt, so purple and whites, third Q show, going in for brown belt, third Q. Okay, this is where you will start to learn this, okay, and you will start to develop your kumite. Now there's no reason why a 9th dan black belt couldn't use Tachishito Gyakuzuki, because it works incredibly effectively. But we want you to evolve, and when it comes to gradings, we're happy for you to use these for brown belts up to black belt. But from the black belt beyond, we want you to start evolving your own form, your own techniques. What works for you will be different to maybe what the black belts thought about when they did these in particular sets. Remember there was a guide, not as to be enforced, not rigid, not rigid. Okay, set two. Hey, so yoi. So we're both in yoi, we both step down, Gidanbarai, and we both come back to judachi. Okay. Now when we're in Ju-Ippon, we shouldn't need to really check our distance, we just need to make sure that we're close enough for the attack to be effective and for the defence to be effective. Okay, so set two, if you remember this from Tuesday evening, okay, so attack coming in here, and it's just Teinagashi. Teinagashi, so here, and then Arazuki. If you remember this, hopefully we're here on Tuesday. If not, then this will be new to you. So stepping in, okay, unusual because we tend to step back, but stepping in. And it's an iuch together, simultaneous. So here, just open hand. And it literally is just this small movement. You don't need to go smash. Just here, deflection. So, Tei, Nagashi, Arazuki. Arazuki, 90-degree angle, hip, uppercut, punch. Right, I'm going to launch you outside in a minute, Holly, with the Morshigiri. Outside. Outside. I'm sorry for all the interruptions this evening. Okay, so, here. Leave the front hand ready, just move. Here. Yeah, and move together.
I didn't hear that. Please try that again.
Alexa, turn off. Yes, it worked. Okay, so here. Arazuki. Once more. Arazuki. Together, together. All together. Okay, so. Chudan. Alexa is ruining my life at the moment. Every time I get into the rhythm, she just comes on and ruins it. So I'm going to have to unplug Alexa. You are going to talk again, aren't you? No, you don't. Just saw the blue bit come out the corner of my eyes. Okay, so set to Chudan. Set to Chudan. So punch is coming in here. Yaku Uchiuki. Yoko and Pyuchi come back to Kumite position. Okay, so slowing that down. Yaku Uchiuki. Okay, so opposite sides. Hips are at shonen, so front facing. Slide in, Yoko and Pyuchi, Chudan or Jodan, makes no difference. Depends on your opponent. And then come back to line back up. So once more. Yaku. Slide in elbow and back. Okay. Chudan. Aya. And back. Chudan. Aya! And back. Slowly. Chudan, Uchuki Gaku. Aya! And back. Okay. So then Maigeri. So Maigeri kick coming down centre line here. Kick is coming for this kind of area here, possibly even the groin, we don't know. Okay, particularly can't kick. So make sure again, body at hammy, cutting down the distance. Okay, and again, this is the arm we're blocking. So we're blocking Gyakugi Danbarai. So we just let the arm come down. We just literally let gravity drop the arm down. Kizamazuki, Gyakuzuki. So my opponent's body follows the imbusun, the line. Okay, here. They land in front, starts here. Gyaku, just deflects the leg if it needs to. Okay, or can strongly deflect the leg. Kizamazuki, Gyakuzuki. And why this is such a good one is the front leg is then there for an Ashibarai Toshizuki to finish. All of the techniques that we've done have been developed with a ulterior motive of continuing our second attack, as it were. So we, as black belts, think more of finishing the opponent off. So quite often, many of these techniques that we're showing you can be finished with an Ashibarai or Toshizuki. Ashibarai is where we take the leg, sweep the leg, and the person will go to ground. The ultimate way to end a fight is that, because when they're down, it's kind of pretty much game over. So that's the mindset that we're thinking of. Obviously we're aiming this at more brown and early lower grade black belts, but ultimately we think beyond that. Okay, black belts should always be thinking beyond that. And ultimately, when they're good enough and been doing karate for long enough, they won't be thinking, they just do. Okay, they just do. So Gyakugi Danbarai, I like to bring this hand to the hip, Kizamazuki, Gyakuzuki. So this would be Jodan to chin, and Chudan to this area here, the rib area, floating ribs. So again, not big Danbarai, not this, that's not Kihon, it's just Ju-Ippon. So block 1, 2. So move 1, 2. And as I said on Tuesday, and Andy will back me up with this, Andy Sensor will back me up with this, I like to use this front punch to just let my opponent know I'm there. So just a little tap, a light little tap. It's quite good to make them sort of think alive and then go downstairs with the second punch, and that works really well. So that's Jodan, Chudan and Maigeri, and then of course we've still got Kikomi Mawashi Geri for set 2. Okay, so Kikomi, remember this is the thrust kick that comes straight through, so we've got this foot being fully extended, locked out completely, with the heel coming in at full speed. Super powerful technique, very difficult to block. Easy to block because it's slow as a kick, but difficult to block if you have to. So, because it's such a powerful kick. So, we've, for set 2, we've come up with Haiwanuki. Haiwanuki, remember I said on Tuesday, and I don't want to prove anybody wrong, but I'm going to, chainmail, muscle fibres, they tighten up, they stop things from going in. This is why it's strong. Strong, okay? So you clench your fist, and this forearm becomes like an iron bar. An iron bar. So we use the top of it, the outer arm, which is called Haiwan. Okay, I say the arm, top of the arm, Haiwan, top of the arm. Make sure the fist is clenched. So we Kime is here. Okay, so Haiwanuki here, and then Haito. Haito or Haito, depends how you pronounce it. It does depend which part of Japan you're from, I think. Here to here. And again, remember, Haito or Haito is this part of the hand here. Okay, ridge hand. So your thumb is not like Shuto, your thumb is away. So you need to tuck your thumb underneath. Okay, so the thumb is completely disappeared here. This is the part that we're helping you with. Would you believe it? I've turned off Alexa because she's annoying the lesson again, and Siri has now started asking me questions. So, Heishu, sorry, Haiwan here, Haito here. So, kikomi, kick coming through, here and here. Using taisabaki, so taisabaki, move away. If you have to block the kikomi centre on, in other words, you don't have time to move, then you need to be strong with this block. Okay, you need to be powerful here to then ridge hand. Kikomi, I found 9 times out of 10 will go through someone's block, particularly if the person has true intent with the kick. In other words, they're really going for it. So we need to be mindful of that, okay, and get the body out of the way, and hate it. Okay, so that's set 2. We've gone from Jodan, Chudan, Amaigeri and Kikomi. Then we've got finally the Mawashi-geri. So our opponent is standing with their left leg forward, okay, same as us, okay, and we are attacking right leg. So it's coming here, or here, or possibly here. Okay, so Mawashi-geri, kick comes in. So again, we're going to use Uchiuki, but we're not using Uchiuki from a basic point because it's too slow. So we leave the guard where it is, we get ourselves into the correct position, hips at hand me, showing less space or area to hit to our opponent. The kick comes around, and we just sidestep here, and then a Gekuzuki. And this one's beautiful because if you get someone really going for a Jodan, and I'd always encourage you to get your opponent to kick Jodan if they're able to, okay, because it's a sweet spot. They kick, their leg has to be, they have to really go for it to get their leg up here. I'm 6'1", okay. When their leg is up, you will finish them before their foot touches the ground. So of course straight away you've got the upper hand, you've got the balance there, and they are unbalanced because they've done a Jodan Mawashi-geri. There aren't super many people that I've trained with or competed with that are really good at doing a Mawashi-geri and keeping and maintaining their balance, their baransu. Baransu is a Japanese word for balance. So I think it's a really good technique to exploit. So really you want to partner up with someone who's got a nice Jodan kick, so you can just do and hit them before they step down. Okay, I'm just going to say hello to a few people because there's loads of people joining now, which is really nice. Good evening, Andy Viner Sensei. Good evening, Andy Sensei. Good evening, Ken Sensei. Good evening, Ashley, Mummy Dickerson. Us Magdalena, hope you're well, hope the family's well. Good evening, Kayla, hope you are okay. Good evening, Harry. Sensei Antonio, good evening, Italy. Oh, we've got international. Good evening, Perry Sensei, We've got everybody coming, Israel. We've got Steve. Steve, mate, hope you're well, mate. Hope you're okay. Good evening, Pete. Good evening, Harry. Lots of love hearts. I hope they're for me. Sammy Do, good evening again. And Sensei Mark. Sensei Rail, Belgium, we've got everybody. And Sensei Mark's been in Liverpool all day, how interesting. Okay, so we continue. So we've got the Mawashi-geri, the kick coming in, blocking here, and Gekuzuki. Very, very simple, but works effectively. So set 2 all the way through, and then we move to set 3, which is what we're doing for the rest of the evening. Okay, so Jodan on set 2. So Teinagashi here, Arazuki. So here, from Judachi position here, so and then back to Kumite position, Judachi position. I'm just going to do the right side because I'm conscious of the time. I hadn't realised that we got to 1/2 so quickly. So Chudan on set 2 then. Gyaku Uchioki, iya, Yoku en Kyuchi, come back Kumai. So here, Gyaku Uchioki, iya, and back. Now the more I do that, the more I like the Chudan. Okay, I used to quite like the Jodan, but I think it's better to just sit down in a nice Kibadachi stance. So here, sort of Zenkutsudachi, because it is longer than Judachi, keep low in and round. And I think I know what I do there, I'll be sweeping straight after that. So I really like that particular technique. Maigeri then, Maigeri kick coming in here, Yidan right, Kizami Gyakuzuki. So again, Maigeri, iya! Kikomi, Haiwanuki, iya! Heito. Again, Haiwanuki, iya! Heito. And then finally my Washigeri kick coming in here. Washigeri, Uchioki, iya! Try to catch them before they get that foot down. Uchioki, iya! And back. And always come back to Kumai with your opponent. Okay, keeping your form. When you finish, you yame, as per normal. Okay, so set 1 and set 2 recapped, hopefully now starting to sink in, okay, especially set 1, we've done that now three nights, okay, last Thursday, Tuesday and this evening. That's your base for working on Ju-Ippon Kumite. Okay, so we moved now to set 3. Set 3 is some more interesting techniques the black belts have come up with, okay, and we'll work our way through, but this time we're going to do 6 techniques. We're going to do Jodan, Chudan, Maigeri, Kikomi, Moshigeri and then Ushirageri. Okay, we put Ushirageri in just as a different thing, really, to again just become more experienced, I think. So Jodan then, we did last time Te Nagashi Arazuki. So now this time we're using a proper Nagashi. So we're moving it right the way across. So here, and then coming in Teishu, Chudan Teishoichi. Okay, so here to here. Now this is a technique that is basically flowing. And this works really, really well. So you can do it one of 2 ways. Okay, so the first way is together. So as your opponent's punch comes towards you, you block and push together. So they come onto the Teisho. They hit the Teisho. Okay, you do get that nice bounce. Because you can slap someone's belly with this one. You don't need to put the Teisho in, you can just make the noise because it sounds great. Or you can block and then come in. You can push in, and here you would push your hip, not to lock out your technique, and not to lock out your elbow, but to strengthen the technique. Okay, if I push that straight through, then it will lock out, everything connects. Yeah, the whole body. So I think it's a really, really nice technique. So once more then, the punch comes in, the front hand just moves the hand across. Now this is, excuse me, horizontal. Horizontal. And what part of the hand are you using to block? Well, you can use keishu, or keisho, excuse me, keisho, or you can use teisho. It makes no difference. You're just making contact with that fist as it comes to the head, just brushing it away. And as I said before with set 2 Jodan, it's more, not so much about power, it's more about deflection. Okay, so the technique comes in, move. Here, here and here. And make sure your hip from here is at hand in, and then your hips in. Here, here. Okay, and remember, with punches we pull, with this, we go in, we come out. So here and back, here and back, here and back. I hope I'm describing that enough. The feedback's great, by the way. I mean, you know, you're all so chatty, and thanks very much for that. I might turn Alexa back on in a minute just to have a little bit of excitement in the house because everybody's left me again. So if you want to say hi on the screen, that'd be great, and I know that people are still alive. So from here, Teisho, yeah, Nagashi, Teisho. And I should have said, and apologies for not bringing this up sooner, bring the front foot back. Okay, so you're in your Judachi stance, your front foot comes back. Why? Well, this gives you the momentum for this lovely sweeping hip move. It's a beautiful technique. I'll show you from the side, from a Judachi position here, come back and in, come back, and then come back together. It makes a difference which way you do it, and in fact, different people, you will do it different ways. I like the one where you bring it out, back and in. Very Tai Chi-esque. I think Tai Chi is a Chinese martial art. Okay. Okay, so that's Jodan. Nagashi Teisho here. Oh, Sensei Mark, thank you very much. Remember that it's a flowing technique as Sensei is showing. That's good. Don't pull back the arm and then slap. Quite right. Yeah, quite right. It's tempting to, but don't do that. It is tempting to. Sometimes I like to just slap people's bellies just because I think it's funny, especially if they're protruding. But Mark is also pointing out that you're not slapping. It's directing. It's directing. Okay, so the punch comes in here. My sensei used to do this, and I now copy him because obviously that's what we all do. We all try to emulate our senseis, and I'm now a sensei, so I do what he did to me. And that is, I encourage the fastest person in the dojo to stand literally on my toes and try and punch me in the face. And literally, of course, all you do is just that. And people are like, wow, that's amazing. It's incredible. Well, no, it's not. It's just science. Okay, it doesn't need a lot to knock something off its trajectory. It's line. It's line. Trajectory. I can't even say it now. I should have got Alexa to do that one for me. So I'm not going to attempt again because I'm starting to trip over my own tongue. But it's just minimal movement. Okay, minimal movement. Make this flowing. It's a really, really positive, nice technique. Okay. Yes, it's not easy for me to say. Thanks for that. Okay, so the next one then, we're on Chudan. So Chudan, set 3, a punch coming into centre again, and we've done something similar to this, Gyaku Uchiuki. We did that, I think it was on Ju-Ippon, okay? So from Ju-Ippon Kumite, Gyaku Haito, Haito, okay, depending upon, again, as I said, your pronunciation. So this, I think, is a great technique to strike with, but I personally like it as a block as well. This is an incredibly powerful bone. Okay, it's on your basically your second metacarpal, so your finger and where your hand joins together here. It's big, it's lumpy, it's strong. Okay, it's powerful. So this is a nice block. So again, from here, this hips that hand me, just open the hand, Haito, and this acts as like an Uchiuki, but the good thing with this is that you get a strike against the wrist, which is really quite painful. Okay, so this shocks the opponent. So this gives them, if you hit hard here, the nerve endings around this area are quite sensitive, and in particular the hand, then it's quite a powerful strike. There's none here, so you don't need to worry about that. It's more the back of the hand and the sides of the radius and ulna where there's more nerve endings. Less so again on top here. So it's about your connection with your opponent. So for me, I just like to here. I'm just going to move back because the next technique is a kick. So here. Okay. Then from here, so this is Gyaku, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Okay, so here, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. And it's only a Chudan Moshigeri, so it's literally into the gut, it's not a high one. Okay, and you could even do it down to the knee, you could do it down to the lower leg as well. So Gyaku, Haito, here. Okay. And then you just kind of let your body weight drop down. Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. I have no idea if I'm even kicking in the camera there. I can't see if that works or not, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I've got enough space. So here, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Okay, so I'm just at the moment showing the right side, okay, so please don't think we've changed legs. We haven't done that just yet. Us Sensei Ian, thank you for joining us. Oh, sorry, that was a natural thing, my apologies. Okay, so, Gyaku, Haito, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. I'm going to show you the opposite side because I have a much better Moshigeri. So here, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. That's better, Sensei. So here, Haito, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Hope you agree, that felt better, definitely. Okay, so that is Chudan. Chudan is Gyaku Haito, Moshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Chudan Haito, Moshigeri, a Gyakuzuki. Back to Judachi each time. Come back to your fighting stance. Okay. Now, Maigeri. Maigeri as our next technique for set 3. So Maigeri, I have to remember these myself as much as you. So Gidanbarai in Kukutsudachi. Okay, so kick coming down here. Gidanbarai, Gyakuzuki. So this is about just changing stance. This is more about going from Judachi to a different stance because we haven't done Kukutsudachi here. But you notice it's not a long Kukutsudachi, it's a much shorter Kukutsudachi. So I can push off the hip to drive the punch in. And this again is the good thing about drawing the hip back. So the hips now are more hammy, okay? Hips in shomen. So remember when we talk about shomen, I think a lot of juniors, they think of it as the front of the dojo. That's correct, because it is the front. That's what shomen means. So when we say shomen-ire, we mean bow to the front. So that's important to understand that this is shomen with the hips, and this is hammy. Shomen, hammy. Half facing. Shomen, hammy. Okay, so in this particular one, Gidanbarai Kukutsudachi here. Okay, Gyakuzuki hips in, come back. Don't know if I'm in the camera line at all here. So again, front Kumai position here. So Gidanbarai, Gyakuzuki. And back. Gidanbarai Kukutsudachi, to Judachi. And back. Okay? So very basic. Gidanbarai, Kukutsudachi, back stance. Okay, shortened for more speed. Push the hip through, Gyakuzuki, come back. Push the hip through, Gyakuzuki, come back to Judachi. And back to this position. Okay? So to recap then, Jodan, Chudan, Maigeri. Jodan, Chudan, Maigeri. So the first technique from here, Jodan, is just a flowing here. So here, bring the front foot back, come in, Teisho. So Judachi, come back, and flow. Yeah, very Tai Chi, very Tai Chi. Okay, Chudan, Gyaku Heito, Mawoshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Gyaku Heito, Mawoshigeri, Gyakuzuki. Maigeri, Gidanbarai Kukutsudachi, Gyakuzuki. Maigeri, Gidanbarai Kukutsudachi, Gyakuzuki. I am shortening my stance a lot here. I'm getting very close to the table. I can feel it touching my belt, so just mindful, I am shortening that probably more than I would potentially do it. Okay, so that's Jodan through to Maigeri. So that's halfway through of set 3. So set 3 continue then with Kikomi. Okay, and this is, I think, a really interesting one, and something that I used to do when I was younger in terms of sets as well. So this is called Sokumun Tei Awaza. Sokumun Tei Awaza, which means joined, okay, together block. Now your hands, if you take your right hand, okay, as in spear hand, so like Shihon Nugate, thumb on the top in other words, and then rotate your hand. Not your arm, not your shoulder. So from this position here, you just rotate your hand, and then take the other hand and sit it on top. Now what you've got there is a joined barrier. Okay. Now remember what I said about the previous set, set 2, about a Kikomi kick. Kikomi kick at full pelt, full whack. Okay, coming to hit you is incredibly difficult to block with one arm. Much better then to join 2 arms, 4 sets of bones. Okay, and you can now put your body into it. So now you've no longer got one arm against one leg and the arm will lose against that. You've now got joined, more power. But also with that, we use Taisabaki, back leg across, and we use this to parry, deflect, push the leg away. Okay, so you want to catch the leg around about here. Series back on. So from here, and then and this is a Shuto Uchi strike, so not Shuto Uki, because that's a block, Shuto Uchi into here. Nodo, the throat. okay? And you want to tickle the person's Adam's apple because that's great fun. I like doing that anyway, but maybe not juniors. Juniors you should keep away from the throat, it's dangerous. So remember the right leg, the back leg comes across, Shotokan tailwaza, okay? Parry the leg down so the leg has landed here, perfect for a sweep. But before we think about that, let's Shuto, sweep and then finish them. So again, you see what I said about the black belts thinking beyond just these basic techniques that we're doing to help you. I get too excited when I think about all this stuff. Okay, so here, and then here, and again, Shuto is this part of the hands. There's nothing to do with the fingers. It's here. Sensei George, us. We literally have the whole of the world joining us this evening. That's made my day. That has. We've had Belgium, we've had Israel, we've had Greece, we've had Liverpool. We've had all different places. Really, thank you very much for joining us. And even if you're just popping in for 5 minutes to say hi, that's fantastic. I love doing that with other people's lessons that are online as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is think about the kikomi again. So the kick coming in here, deflection, and here. Shotokan tailwaza here. Okay, you don't need to follow that up with another technique, but you could if you wish to do so. As soon as you strike someone here, they won't be going anywhere. Okay, so once more, Shotokan tailwaza into the throat, back to Judachi. And that is kikomi. So my washigeri then, so again we have another washigeri coming back. We thought of all sorts of different ways of doing this, and there are some that work and some that don't work and some that are spectacular and some that aren't, and we just thought we'd put in a new technique that we haven't used, and we're going to use heishu. So we're using sort of keishu open hand, okay? Heishu is backhand. So from here, the kick comes around again, remember here or down here. So from here, similar to uchuki, just bring the hand around, okay? Now with this, it doesn't look super strong. I understand people's concerns potentially about that, but if you connect the fingers together, okay, your hand is a strong element. Connect it with your takubi, your wrist, hiji, your elbow, your arms. You connect it all together and you have a very strong block. Again, enough to deflect. Here, and yakuzuki, excuse me, dog, in. Lots of interruptions this evening, my apologies. So again, from here, just an uchuki feeling, but heishu, yakuzuki. And again, my thought process as a previous fighter and stuff, it would just be naturally thinking about hitting the other opponent. So block, it'll be super quick. So you don't need, again, a massive inside block here. You're moving your body, taisabaki here, heishu to cover the kick, and then punching yakuzuki. Okay, punching yakuzuki. So once more, Jodan, heishu, Chudan, heishu, okay, and Ray, us. Good. It'd be really helpful if you, a lot of you read Sensei Mark's insights to the lesson, and Sensei Andy's and any other senseis that contribute to the lesson, because quite a lot of them put some really interesting techniques, but not techniques. What I'm not saying, what I'm doing, they're saying. So, okay, so they're giving you guidance, sliding back to Kamae, shortened fighting stance. Okay, it's really good what they're saying. So please read the comments. Don't just watch the videos. So here, Gyakuzuki come back. Never Gyakuzuki stay. Always come back, and then always come back. Okay, really important. Block, punching, come out, come back, together. I can't show you that this evening. I'm not going to attempt to either. We need people together to be able to do that correctly. But I think you understand, hopefully, where we're coming from. Okay, so finally then is the Ushirageri. So Ushirageri's back kick, okay? So from an attacking perspective, this is the kick. We did this some weeks ago, and I think it was the night that I pulled my hamstring, so I'm not going to do that again. So I'm just going to do this slowly. Okay, so if you think of Judachi and Ushirageri, we are thrusting, so we're pointing in the direction with our hip here, and driving through and kicking back. Okay, and so Ushirageri is literally translated back kick. Okay, now traditionally it would have been just literally kick behind, but it's developed into what is more of a thrust kick. Okay, I myself never used this in competition. Showing your back to your opponent was probably the most ridiculously daft thing you could possibly do. If you were fighting anybody for any decent sort of ability, you'd get beaten all the time. So, but I do know some senseis that were very, very quick on their back kicks and used to score with it quite well. And you'll see certainly some of the Japanese fighters do very well with it. So make sure that you understand here the hip comes in and then drive back. And it's driving in a straight line, it's not rotating, it's not spinning kick. Okay, there's a different type of kick. Uramwashigeri is totally different, they're not even closely related. So this one here, Judachi, come here and push, and you're kicking straight back. And you're kicking with the heel, so it's the same as a thrust kick. Okay, I'm going to leave that attack there because I have no intentions of pulling my hamstring in my kitchen like I did a few weeks ago. Okay, so what do we do then for a block of that kick? Okay, so person here, if I face away from you, yeah, I'm going to be rotating here, and the kick is coming here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go away from the leg as much as it's coming this way. So all I'm going to do is step forward, Gyaku Gidanburai, left leg forward, okay, and flick my hips to a punch to the head, or to the side of the body, the ribs here. So I'm just going to move back for this one. So Gyaku, punch, Kamai, and back. Here, Iya, and back. Iya, and back. Okay, so the Shirogeri kick coming down here. The block, Gyaku, because I'm using my hip. Okay, I'm using my hip for two reasons here. One is to get power on the block, because remember this is a powerful kick. It's just like the Kikomi, it's going to have the same strength. So if it does hit you, it's going to hurt. So here to use my hip to connect these two. Yeah, you can see that hopefully. Here, but then enables me to rotate the hip for the Gyakuzuki to the head. Now I came up with this technique some time ago, and I felt that it worked. It works for me, and I'm not suggesting for a second it works for everybody. It didn't work for me years ago, okay? Not in the same way that it does now, but now I know to use my hips better, more efficiently, and I understand the connection with the body, the changes here, it works. You have to trust me on this, you know, and practice it yourselves. That's the best thing I think to learn anything, isn't it? Is to practice and practice and practice. So, Gyaku, here, hip in, yeah, punch the head. So block here, yeah, and then back to Judachi. So you can see hopefully that's a nice technique. So that's all the way through, that's all six attacks, all six defences. Okay, so I'll run through slowly on the right side and run through slowly on the left side. Okay, so you can do both of those. And then if I've got it still in me at the end of the lesson, I'll do set 1, set 2 and set 3, right and left side. I think I might have just challenged myself there. Okay, so set 3, Jodan. Okay, set 3, Jodan, right side. Okay, so Judachi, hips at Hammy here. Come back the front foot, Teisho. So come back the front foot, yeah, here. Okay, change legs. Come back and here. So the right leg comes back, the right hand comes back and here. Okay, you don't need to move the hand much. Here. Yeah, that sort of, this feeling, I like to do this because it's very Tai Chi, but you don't need to do that. From this position here, it's just here. Okay, change legs again. So, Chudan, set 3. Uchi, Gyaku Heito Uchi. Okay, here. Moshigeri and Gyakuzuki. Change legs. Gyaku Heito. Moshigeri. Yeah. Gyakuzuki. Change legs. Maigeri. Left leg. Gidanburai Kakutsudachi. Gyakuzuki. Change legs. Right leg moves. Left leg or left arm Gidanburai. Gidanburai Kakutsudachi. Yeah. Gyakuzuki. Change legs. Kikomi, Sokumen tail waza. Sokumen tail. Right leg across, hands joined together, Jodan Shutochi. And back to Judachi. Change legs. So the left leg comes across, right hand on top, Sokumen tail waza. Iya! Back to Judachi. We'll change legs. Mawashi-geri. Uchi heishu, so sort of inside block type feeling. So here, iya. Change legs, and that was a Jodan. So now, iya, Chudan. Hey, that was Moshigeri. Yushirageri. Okay, so stepping in, left leg Yaku Gidambarai, right arm. Here, change the hips, iya, Jodan Zuki. Change legs. So again, Yaku here and step in, Yaku here, hips here. And back to Judachi. And Yamri. And run. Okay, so that's all of them, all set 1, 2 and 3. Okay, these are all in our syllabus book that Sensei Mark's done for us. Okay, we'll teach you more of these in the dojo when we get back together, particularly partnered up. If you've been able to follow these last 3 lessons and have a go at this in your dojo, it is really, really well done. Because training Ju-Ippon Kumite, I think, is difficult enough. I said this time last week, that it's one of the dark arts of karate. It's very challenging for the mind, okay, because you're thinking of so many multiple things, moving the body this way and that, blocking with this and that, in this stance and that. So much going on. So if you've been able to have a go at this, then seriously, you need to pat yourself on the back and give yourself a virtual black belt, because I think you deserve it, because it's a very, very challenging thing. When we're partnered, it's much easier, because you can see the attack, you can see your opponent coming closer, and you can see where you need to go. I'm describing it in multiple ways, because obviously people learn in different ways over the internet, and you're picking it up, I hope, with some respect. Okay, easy, I don't doubt that, but I think if you've had a go, then I think really seriously well done. So that's all 3 of the sets. We do them right side, we do them left side, okay, and they're a baseline. When you come to your grading, you don't have to follow those at all. You can have your own block for Jodan, your own block for Chudan, Maegeri, Kikomi, Moshigeri and Yushirageri. It's entirely up to you. What would the black belts do in an examination in terms of your technique? They'll never criticise you, okay, because if you make it work, ultimately if you don't get hit and you counter-punch, counter-attack, then there's no way would you ever be criticised. We may suggest different ways, okay, because we're always trying to expand your learning, but you'd never be told off or said that's rubbish or that's no good. That's not the way of Shotokan karate. The way of Shotokan karate is always about trying to learn. So if you try something yourself and we don't think it worked for you as well as something else might have done, then we'll suggest that to you. Okay, and I think that's a really important part of our learning. We can never stop learning. Okay, I remember being in Grenoble a few years ago, and Sensei Russo from Italy showed me something that I'd never done in that way previously, and was like, wow, that works better, that does. Do it that way then. So does that make sense? I hope so. Again, there's a few comments coming from the instructors. Yeah, I agree. Sensei Mark's picked up what I said on Tuesday, and that is don't worry about the attack. Think about moving. Yeah, movement, you don't need any of the blocks, you just need to think about your counter technique. If you don't move, you have to have a good block. You have to think about your counter technique. I try to cut things down as easy and as minimal as possible from myself. Okay, so all the way through then, set 1. Okay, so right side, okay, Migi. Okay, so set 1, Jodan. I'm just going to whiz through these so you can play back slowly if you wish to do so. So Jodan, Us, Tachishuto, Ya, Gyakuzuki. Okay, Chudan, Us, blocking, Ya. And Maegeri, blocking, Ya. And changing legs, Jodan, blocking, Ya. Chudan, Ya. Maegeri, Ya. Okay, and changing back legs. So Jodan set 2. Jodan, Us, Ya. Okay, Chudan, Ya. Maegeri, Ya. Kikomi, iya, Maoshigeri, iya. Change legs. Jodan, os, iya. Chudan, iya. Maigeri, iya. Kikomi, iya. Maoshigeri, iya. Hey, and change legs. Set three, Jodan, iya. Chudan, iya. Maigeri, iya. Kikomi, iya. Maoshigeri, iya. And change legs. Set three, Jodan, os, iya. Having to think my brain now. Chudan, os, iya. Maigeri, iya. Kikomi, iya. Oh, I'm not sure I did that right. Did I last time? Oh. Sensei, come on. Kikomi, Maoshigeri, iya. And then finally, Shurigeri, iya. Hey, mate. I'm pretty confident I did that right. Bus, I am. Okay, I need to get fit though. So hopefully you've enjoyed these last 3 lessons on Ju-Ippon Kumite. I spent 3 lessons. I had no intention of spending just one because it's impossible to doing 1. It's impossible to doing 3. Okay, so if you're still with us and still having a go at this, well done. Okay, really, really well done. It is not an easy thing to do. Next week we're going to do kata. We're going to attempt, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can move things around in the kitchen, shorten my body, and we'll do kankudai. Okay, that's what I'd like to do. I've not done that for, well, I've been doing it, but you may not have done it for ages. So that would be really, really good. So I think that's the plan for next Tuesday and Thursday, because kankudai is a long kata, and it will take us quite some time, I believe, to get through that correctly. So again, any suggestions that you want to come up with? This idea of Ju-Ippon was Sensei Ken's. Thank you very much, Ken. Much appreciated. It saves my little brain thinking. Okay, saves my little brain thinking. Oh, thank you very much, Harry. Us. It's really nice when people say nice things. So, you know, I appreciate you joining me every week, as I said before. I'm sorry there's no updates on our dojo's opening. I'm not hopeful, if I'm honest, for the summer holidays, but I'm waiting on a couple still to get back to me. I've had no answers to my emails and telephone calls. So, you know, I keep my fingers crossed and my toes crossed. And my eyes crossed, just to sort of see if we can get back over the summer period. If not, then our plan will be to, again, fingers crossed, come back when the schools do in September. But remember, we've got the beach training. The beach training is booked for, I think it's Sunday the 13th, and I'm pretty sure that day is correct in my head. Okay, so we go down to the beach at Holcombe in Norfolk every year. We've done this for, I think this will be our 5th year. It's a stunning place. You can bring your dogs, horses, if you've got a horse, bring it along, and it's just an amazing place to train. Beautiful scenery, whether it's rain, sun or shine, it makes no difference, it's just lovely. We go out into the sea for those people that want to. Remember, this year is the first time that everybody's invited, so that's juniors as well as the adult classes, and you can, anyone can come, it's free. All you need to do is get yourselves there. That's the only thing that's different this year, and that is that I can't provide a minibus because we're not allowed to, okay, purely because of COVID. But we can train on the beach with social distancing being a very easy thing to do, especially on a beach, with as many of us as needed. The fish and chip shops will be back open, which is a great thing, so we'll be able to then go to Wells next sea for fish and chips for lunch, and then have our journey back. Travel time, it depends how fast you drive. Tends to say 2 hours. Is 2 hours from where I live anyway, from Clifton. Probably about an hour and 30 minutes from Potton, I guess, something like that. Okay, yeah, about that from Potton. So we will take our time, possibly go down in convoy, but there's no hurry. I'll check the tide times nearer the time, because it's always good to get the tide out, otherwise we drown. That's a bad thing. So I'll let you know more about that nearer the time, but put it in your diary. It's on our calendar, and I'll keep updating the Facebook page as much as I can. Tenzi Mark's put about 40 minutes, yes. Yes, certain people do drive like that, Lewis Hamilton for one. So it's really, really important that you understand that we're still going. Okay, and tell everybody if they've not joined one of these lessons, come and have a go. It's usually quite hilarious because Alexa and Siri join in and the dog joins in, and it's just, you know, otherwise it's me in the kitchen not having much fun on myself. So please keep training, please keep practicing, and stick with us. We'll be back together before you know it. Okay, we'll finish the lesson there with the Dojo-kun. Okay, Kyotsuke. Dojo-kun. Hitotsu Jinkan Koukansei ni soremoto koto. Hitotsu Makato no michi o momoru koto. Hitotsu Doryoku no seishin yashinau koto. Hitotsu Regyo o monjuro o koto. Hitotsu Keki no yo I mashimuru koto. And finishing very well. Us. Oisunasai arigatou gozaimasu. Us. Thank you very much for joining me. See you again on Tuesday. Take care, be good, be nice to everybody, and please look after yourselves. Us. Ja matane. See you later. Us.